And we are live, guys. Welcome to another live stream from the Three Girls in Love channel. My name is Joseph Darling. Today we're going to talk about a man's responsibility to provide and protect, and how that responsibility never, ever, ever will end in his lifetime. I've explained in the past that a woman's love is conditional. It is impossible for a woman's love to become unconditional. Okay? It's impossible. Unless a man meets those conditions, okay? And then consistently applies that condition or that environment forevermore. Because what he manages to do when he does that is he allows her to be in an environment where her love is unconditional. Do you understand what I mean? But she didn't create those conditions. And she didn't make the decision to love unconditionally. The conditions in the environment was already there. And that was derived from the man's ability to create the perfect environment for her to unconditionally love him for the rest of his life or forever, eternally, etc. Does that make sense? A woman's love is always conditional. But if a man meets those conditions, she will unconditionally love him until those conditions are no longer met. Let's go to the wonderful, amazing Three Girls in Love profile on Instagram. It's a very small profile. 6 months ago, I believe we created this in order for people to understand a bit more about the environment, the culture, the excitement that will come from Three Girls in Love lifestyle. There's amazing posts. You see three girls being together all the time. It's very wholesome. It's very nice. Obsession equals loyalty. I mean, come on. Wow. These are amazing posts. And basically, my wife is the one who's made these. You think I would make this? She's amazing. Let's go. I wanted to show you guys one specific post, though, that has an overview over all, or at least most, of women's emotional needs. Of course, we don't... it's sometimes impossible to write down all of women's emotional needs, but you'll get there. You begin to understand. When you have the foundation, you'll understand everything in terms of what a woman's emotional needs is. Because if it's not heaven for her, then her emotional needs are not being met. If it's not heaven for her, her emotional needs are not being met. Her purpose in life was to become emotionally fulfilled. That's women's purpose. And very often, she doesn't get to achieve her purpose because the environment is not correct. She doesn't get the environment that she needs. Let's see, there's one specific one. It was easy to scroll on my phone, but on this one, it's a bit takes longer, but I guess you get to see some of the things that are on here anyway. Here's another good book on the right bottom side here. Feminism and Sex Extinction. Oh my gosh. That is one of the books that got me to understand these philosophies more than anything else, probably. It was written exactly 100 years ago by a female biologist, explaining about masculinity and femininity and what happens to children depending upon a woman's masculinity and femininity. Amazing book. Wow. A lot of feminists don't like that book, but it's true though. Let's see. I wonder if I've already passed it. Let's hope not. But this is, man, what do you guys think? Go and subscribe. Go and follow this profile. You'll have to ask, because we only accept people that we, allow. But let's see. How about this one? On the left bottom side. Emotion overrides rational remembrance. And yet, you always tell yourself, oh, I need to remind myself of this, and I need to remember this, and I need to remember this, and I need to remember this. Boom! Something happens to your emotions. Everything that you were supposed to remember goes out the window. Amazing how that works. Okay, we're getting there. Okay, oh wow. the one in the middle at the bottom. Heaven is an environment, not a destination. That's something that I want to share with you guys, help you to understand that heaven and hell, you should never look at it as a on the other side thing, okay? What happens after death. And so, we have to do this and that and the other in order for us to not go to hell. No, heaven and hell is an environment. It's a condition. It is something that is basically here and now, right? If you are having a lousy time, you are in hell right now. And we have to figure out how to get you out of that hell and get you into heaven right now. Okay? Like, obviously, you can't change that. That's you can't change that as a woman, whether you manage to go into heaven immediately or not. That's based upon your environment. That's based upon your conditions that are around you. You can't solve that. However, you can strive to unburden yourself as much as possible. Women are trying to do that by basically alleviating their burdens and blaming other people and getting their issues away from them. That's a good thing. That's built in within you to like push away responsibility when you have too much. Amazing, feminine. However, to completely unburden you, you will need a man of high value. It's impossible for you to achieve complete, pure bliss consistently over a long period of time unless you have a man of high value in your life. Just wanted to share that with you because that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about emotional fulfillment. The one on the left-hand side here. In Three Girls in Love, the man taking all of the blame makes the women equal. Amazing. Because that's what women are fearing in Three Girls in Love is that, but it's going to be unequal. It's not going to be equal because, you have to share your man with someone else and someone else is going to be with your man at times and my emotions don't like it. As long as the man takes all of the blame for your emotions, you will be equal because he will make sure that everything is equal. Let's see. Man, I love this one. The most alluring thing that a woman can have is femininity. Oh my gosh. Wow. To be in love, to feel that pull, is where my heart always wants to go. Woo! Okay, so here we come. Now we're getting there. Like I said in in the other one before. Look at this one. Remind myself to be grateful. Remind myself to be there for my kids. Remind myself to stop thinking. Remind myself. Your emotions always override rational remembrance, meaning you'll never remember to do all this crap. You won't. Okay? It becomes natural, however, when you're feminine and unburdened. You'll follow your natural inclination, and you'll follow your emotions, and your emotions will guide you towards doing the things that provide heaven, wherever you are. So it's not something that you should discipline yourself to get there. Let's see. To be filled with truthful desire. Absolutely amazing. Okay, now we're getting to the one that I wanted to show you, which is your emotional needs. Right here. Amazing. Let's go through it. If it's possible. Let's see. Okay, we're going to read it. When femininity realizes its needs won't be met while being feminine, it turns to masculinity, which creates the void of feminine needs and masculine needs not met. Women have feminine needs that need to be met by other feminine women. That's a fact. And masculine needs that need to be met by masculine men. Or in other words, by one masculine man. This is a combination of both. So this is the list. Let's see if I can come down here. We'll take one at a time. Let's see. Needs to receive 100% understanding, sympathy, and empathy. Need others to feel like them, or equality. Needs social and community. Amazing. Needs help. Needs company. Needs pampering. Needs to nurture. Needs to learn, to teach, to lead femininity. Okay, this includes children. needs something to blame, something to just throw away all the hardships, all the responsibilities, all the issues that one have in one's life, to throw it over to a masculine man. Let him handle it. Let him take care of it, okay? You just simply enjoy yourself. That's what a woman needs. Let's see. High levels of oxytocin, meaning touch, hugs, caring, okay, pampering. Needs 80% femininity, 20% masculinity. And what do we mean by that? Basically, time-wise. The people that you spend with, 80% of the time should be around femininity. You probably aren't doing that, are you? Especially if you have a job. If you have a job, you're probably spending time with men, which means that you're spending time with masculinity. Okay? You're becoming a hybrid when you do that. You should be spending time with women that are feminine, as much feminine as possible. And I'm talking about feminine in the sense that they express their emotions. Okay? And they get it out there. And the definition of femininity means to be unburdened. Okay, if you know that women are burdened, they're masculine, no matter how feminine they look like. It's the same thing with men. Like, it's not a man's masculine features, okay, like his, buffness and whatever, that determines his masculinity. His masculinity is determined by his ability to control his thoughts, his emotions, and his behaviors. If he's not able to do that, he's feminine. That means you should be running away. So basically, yeah, to spend 80% of your time with feminine women and 20% of your time with a masculine man by your side as well. Let's see, needs fun, play, exploration, wants many talents to make beauty, to create, full range of emotional and physical expression, to avoid rejection. Okay, this is good. And problems, especially outside area of control and influence. Absolutely. This is one of the reasons why I tell women to avoid politics like the plague. Why do you want to be involved with politics? Why do you want to read the news? It's ridiculous. As a feminine woman, you're burdening yourself because you personalize everything that's going on in the world. If anyone in the world is being rejected, that's a personal offense to you. Right? Syrian refugees or LGBTQT people in Russia being persecuted, by Vladimir Putin. You know what I mean? That's a personal offense to you. Or any other aspect of life that's happening on the news where minorities are being rejected. You're just like, no. Okay? Your emotions are being influenced by this, and you are taking personal offense. And you're allowing emotions to dictate how you feel about a political direction. That's why women vote for socialism. Because they have emotional needs right now, and they want free stuff. But rationally, that doesn't work in the long term. You might get it in the short term because the government is able to steal from other people's pockets, including yours, but it's not the way society should work. Why should you force someone to do something that they don't want to do? Are we for force? Really? Do you want men to force you to go back to what we had in history where men were basically forced women to do what they wanted to do? No, we don't want to go back to force. We want to move towards freedom, where not only women are free, but men also are free. Right? So I can talk about that a lot, but I'm just talking about news. You don't want to be in front of the news or hear the news. You want to be able to live inside your cocoon, your bubble, where nothing can prick it, where you can simply enjoy life, because life is amazing as long as you don't get involved with all the negative crap that's going on out there. Let men handle it. Let them take care of it. Needs to feel protected. You don't feel protected when you know that Trump has the possibility of nuking the world, right? Or not even Trump, well, maybe the North Korean leader or Chinese leader, or who knows? Do you understand what I mean? Needs no offense to Trump, by the way. Needs a resource dispenser abundance. Needs to feel chosen. That's a good one. In Three Girls in Love. In monogamy, you're chosen on your wedding day. Oh, you feel so special. All these women behind you, everyone is watching you, and you feel so special. But then real life sets in, and suddenly life is crap, okay? Most of the time in monogamy. And you're chosen. Oh, that's fun, okay? In Three Girls in Love, you're chosen intermittently, meaning that actually the times when you are chosen, oh, it feels so special. You're massively enjoying your life because he picked me. Do you understand what I mean? It's equal, and he'll always pick you. And then he'll pick your best friend. And then he'll pick your best friend, and then he'll pick you again. And then you'll never be left behind because you've got another best friend with you. Okay, need to chase. Need to follow decisive leadership, because then you know you're protected. Needs to worship. To worship. That's a good one. To obsess. To surrender. Needs truth. Needs honesty, integrity, loyalty. Needs to please others and see others be pleased. That's a crucial one, because this happens naturally when you're feminine. You want to please others. You notice that when you were younger, you were always pleasing other people until you were like, okay, that's it. That's enough. People are just taking massive advantage of me. I need to set up boundaries and become masculine. And now, you know, I'm not going to take it any longer, right? That's a feminine aspect in terms of you're becoming masculine because people are running over you all the time. If you had a masculine man, that wouldn't be happening. You'd be protected. Not only when the masculine man is there, your masculine man, but the beautiful thing about Three Girls in Love is that no one can run over you when you are together with your other best friends. Strength in numbers. Okay, it's not just about a masculine man protecting you. It's also about having two other women protecting you. Okay? Let's see. To tempt, to lure, and the forbidden. Interesting. That's an emotional need for women. They want the forbidden. They want things that they cannot have. They want to go into the mysterious and see what's up. Okay? Because it's exciting. It's new. It's woo. Needs carnality. Interesting, isn't it? Religion doesn't allow you to have that, do they? And when I mean carnality, I mean that it's like you are allowing within the boundaries, okay? So within the boundary of Three Girls in Love, you never are carnal outside the home, right? I mean, as only when you're with those three. But you're never carnal in terms of being outside of that core unit. Obviously. Because that would create a distrust. And you need integrity, honesty, and loyalty. So being carnal outside of that union doesn't work very well long term. And we got to do things that allow you to be, for it to work long term. Or else you won't be able to have heaven consistently long term. Does that make sense? So you need carnality, but the carnality needs to be within Three Girls in Love. That's why you will get that carnality by being intimate with the two other women and by having intimacy with your man. That's carnal. Oh, carnality is bad. Lust is bad. No. As long as the lust is within the perimeters of the family, okay, of the home, of your masculine man and your two best friends forever, as long as carnality is within that union of those four people, and that's it. Lust and carnality is fantastic. It's amazing. It's an emotional need. And at the bottom there, women need highly pleasurable sex. That's a fact. Okay? And you cannot take that away from women. Okay? Very often women will say, oh, I don't need it as much, blah, blah, blah. And but there's different people. And there's some people that are asexual and stuff like that. Yeah, but they have the exact same emotional needs as any other woman. It's only that their hormones are jacked up. Okay? Their brains have basically been fried from all of the crap that they've experienced throughout their lives. And then they basically grow up and they're like, They're not turned on by guys, and they're not really turned on by girls, and they're asexual. It's a disease. It's a plague. It's a problem. And as long as they're asexual, okay, as long as they don't manage to be cured by this, they're not going to be able to be in heaven. They're going to have issues continuously and constantly. This whole system that has been developed and organized from principles. The 3 Girls in Love system and the Men of High Value system is designed perfectly for men to fulfill the emotional needs of women by creating the environment that allows for women to have their emotional needs met 100% of the time, preferably. Okay? In the beginning, maybe it's going to be 80% of the time. Because the man sucks in the beginning. He doesn't understand female nature. He only has the basics. And he hasn't understand their uniqueness yet in 3 Girls in Love. And he's also, struggling and learning and becoming rejected by the facts of life that he sucks. But over time, he's going to improve. He's going to become better. And over time, there's an exponential growth curve happening to women's happiness because over time, heaven is being created. Wow, he's constantly improving. He's becoming better and better. Wow, this is amazing. Oh, this is etc., etc. Right? You don't want to start out with the guy who fulfills you 5% of the time and is gone the rest. You don't, right? You want a man that can fulfill all of your emotional needs as much as possible. And very often what happens is that women get married and they have a guy that fulfills a lot of their emotional needs because he fulfills a lot of the roles that the women are playing or should be playing in 3 Girls in Love. So you end up marrying very often a hybrid. You marry a hybrid. That's the worst possible thing you can do. Because a hybrid will have a hard time changing because he's still not in control of his thoughts, his emotions, and his behaviors. You need a masculine man. But the more of a feminine man you marry, the less the growth, the improvement in your marriage or in your relationship is going to continue. There's not going to be any improvement because he's struggling. He's drowning just like you are. You are drowning when you don't have a masculine man in your life who's improving the environment continuously and constantly throughout your entire life. That's what masculine men do. Right? If you have a feminine man, he's going to try to improve things. Oh, but then he continues. He's so sexual. Like in the sense of he's always drawn back to like the moment you say, hey, honey, can you come home because I'm lonely and, do you have to be at work so long? He was masculine when he was out there working. But now you need him because you need your emotional needs met. And that's more important to you in the now than him becoming rich. So he ends up not being able to fulfill all of the other emotional needs because he's trying to fulfill and he's drowning and he's trying and he's trying and he's trying. It's not working very well. So, a man's responsibility never ends. Why? Because all of these emotional needs that I've just read up need to be met forever for the rest of his life and for the rest of eternity. It's his responsibility to make sure that you have these conditions for life, forever. That's his responsibility, not yours. Right? Because if that environment is there and you're unburdened, you have a carefree lifestyle as a woman, and you're inside your cocoon, and the world is improving on the other side there because men are taking care of it, okay? At least your man is taking care of it. He's improving the world, trying to improve everything continuously. Because he knows that if he doesn't improve the world out there, that could cause a risk to the cocoon you have here. Right? No man is an island. In the same sense, no family is an island. So his goal is to create an amazing cocoon. You guys are free to travel wherever you want, right? But there's a cocoon there with the 3 girls in love. If you're just one woman in monogamy and you walk around in society, you're going to get rejected. Absolutely. Every single day, in fact. because your man can't be there all of the time. But you can be with another best friend all of the time. Even when one of you guys, let's say you go together with your man of high value on a specific special chosen date for you. The two others will still have each other, and they can go out and about, and guess what? They're going to have less rejection from other people because there's strength in numbers. And they protect each other from that rejection and from masculinity. Women need protection from masculinity these days because the world is telling them to become masculine. And if you're alone by yourself, you're vulnerable to that aspect. You're vulnerable to other people's philosophies. If you're together with the best friend forever, who has the philosophy that you have? Who has the life philosophy that your man has? Because it's your own. That you guys have come to a conclusion with together. The philosophies on this channel are pretty good. Pretty darn good. And if you have the same philosophies, and you're being helped by your best friend, and your masculine man has tons of money so that you guys can be around people that you love, people that have the same mentality, people that have the same philosophy, that have fun, and be with other women that are unburdened and that are excited about life and that are fulfilling the needs of others. Wherever they see a need, if you're feminine, you're going to want to fulfill those needs because you're like, oh, they need this. I want to help them. And so you basically go to the man of high value and say, oh, can we help him? Like, can we help them? They really need our help, etc., etc. Do you understand what I mean? When the man has massive amounts of financial foundation, like when he has a really good financial foundation, that's helping the women to feel the emotional need of pleasing others and helping the needs of others. So, a man's responsibility to protect and to provide. Those are the two things that men are supposed to do. It's very simple. Protection and provision. That's it. Now, there's several aspects to provision. There's several aspects to protection. But let's just kind of quickly go through those two. In terms of protection, there might be several, but what I think about when I think protection, I think about from physical harm and from emotional harm, right? Physical harm means that obviously the man of high value needs to be buff. He needs to have martial arts expertise. He needs to have weapon expertise, okay? He needs to know what he's doing in order for him to protect the lives of those that he loves, right? And he also needs to be able to protect them from emergencies and from things that are happening. A man of high value will protect. And he'll have that capacity. Why is that important? To give you security. Security and equality is like the two biggest foundational pieces for women. And a man who's not able to protect, he's not able to provide security. In many aspects, protection is provision, okay? If you look at it from that aspect. So he needs to protect you from physical harm. It's obvious, duh, because he loves you. He doesn't want anything to happen to you. One, you're extremely beautiful, and if something were to happen to you, that would be his problem. That would be his environment forever, right? So he wants to protect you in any way, shape, or form that he can without controlling you, all right? That's important. And then he also wants to protect you from emotional harm, meaning rejection. The more rejected a woman is, the less the man is protecting her, right? If a man says that he wants his wife or his woman to work, why would he want that? Why would he want his woman to be rejected on a continual basis and for her to have a boss? That doesn't make any sense from a masculine point of view. Don't allow him to do that to you, okay? As a feminine woman, your job is to enjoy life, okay? Now, if you want a job because you enjoy it, okay, it's a different story. That's like you setting up your own little business because you enjoy it. You enjoy fulfilling the needs of others, right? And that's why you've set up a business that creates profit so that you can, that's a possibility. However, very often, business as well creates rejection. So a man's responsibility is to bring in so much money that the women never, ever, ever have to worry about money. Ever. His goal is to create this massive amounts of money that just exponentially increases over time. And obviously not from debt that has to be paid back. He produces it from his geniusness, from his capitalistic ways, from him being an amazing man in business. Okay? You've got that money, and it's slowly but surely increasing over time, the allotment that you get, so that you can, continuously get the things that you need and want. The amazing thing, though, is that very often you'll be very content in Three Girls in Love. So you actually don't need as much as you do when you're in monogamy. It's interesting. Women are insatiable in monogamy. They want this, they want that, they want this, they want that, they want this, they want that. In Three Girls in Love, you know what happens? They're so content with life that they're like minimalistic. It's literally a masculine trait, or it's a feminine trait to be minimalistic when you're content. Now, if you're not content, if you're unfulfilled, and you're disciplining yourself to be minimalistic, that would be masculine. You see the difference? You're minimalistic when you're feminine. That's because you don't need anything. You need just solutions to the everyday problems that you face. But other than that, you don't need much. Because you're happy, you're filled, you're enjoying heaven. What more can you want, right? That's kind of the mentality that starts happening when you're living in heaven. But, when you're not living in heaven, then you're continuously searching for answers. Why am I not being emotionally fulfilled? So, I was explaining about protection. I was explaining that it's from physical harm, emotional harm, and the emotional harm is rejection. You don't want to be rejected. That's why you want a masculine man who protects that, but you also want two best friends so that you can have strength in numbers no matter where you go. Could you imagine strength in numbers in terms of in-laws? It's amazing. You'll be defended all the time because you'll never be alone with anyone else who has the potential to basically reject you. When you're together with someone else, guess what? Then other people don't have the same opportunity of hitting you and hitting your vulnerability. And then you've got provision. A man's job is to provide. That's his biggest thing. If he doesn't provide, he's not being a man, right? And it's important that he provides in every aspect of life. Number one, he needs to provide in the relationship section. Meaning he needs to be the perfect guy in terms of the turn-on factor. Because obsession equals loyalty. As we saw on one of the slides that we had here. Obsession equals loyalty. If a man doesn't provide an environment where you are obsessed about him and worshiping him, he's not providing. Does that make sense? Because if he doesn't provide that, you will not be loyal. And your thoughts will be elsewhere. And you'll be looking for someone else. And you'll try to discipline yourself. No, I don't want to think about anyone else. I want to think about my man alone. And that becomes a burden. Because you have to discipline yourself for you to be obsessed about your man. It doesn't work very well for women. It's his responsibility to fulfill that emotional need of you being obsessed with him. Okay? He needs the masculine features. He needs to be able to control himself. He needs to have power in his life. He needs to continuously improve and compete so that no one else overtakes that role of your obsession. Does that make sense? And another aspect to providing the obsession factor is that he needs to provide an environment with other women. Those are your best friends forever, BFFs. They're with you in the family so that he can be edified, which he will naturally be in a Three Girls in Love relationship. Okay? Whenever you look down on him because he's failing, he's sucking, and he's trying to improve, and you look down on him, that's a turn-off factor. The moment a woman mentions, oh, I'm so excited to see him tonight, that's the moment you just like snap out of it and you're just like, oh, that's true. Wow, she wants him. And because she wants him, I want him. And now suddenly the turn-on factor is turned back on, and this happens on a daily basis so that the women are continuously obsessed about the man. Now, this is a very bad system if the man sucks, and he sucks eternally and has no inclination to change. If he's not a man of high value and has not received the stamp of approval by other men of high value, that he is trustworthy and that he's integrity and that he continuously improves continuously, it's a very bad idea to join a man like that in Three Girls in Love. Because he won't be Three Girls in Love. It will be disgusting polygamy. Do you understand what I mean? You need a man who's received the stamp of approval, who continuously and constantly is improving, who has been practicing voluntary celibacy and semen retention for a long period of time, building up his financial foundation. If you do not join a man like that, very often he will not improve because he already has arrived. Do you understand what I mean? Once you get Three Girls in Love, very often you cease to improve. If you don't have the masculine mindset that I want to improve, I want to become better, I want to have more power, I want this, 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 and this. Do you understand what I mean? If you have a hybrid, a feminine man who just wants sexual access, then like get rid of him. That's not what Three Girls in Love is all about. Three Girls in Love is about creating heaven for women and children. That's it. Okay? So you want the obsession factor. His job is to provide the obsession factor for him. Okay? The other aspect, he needs to provide all of these things that we've mentioned here in terms of emotional fulfillment. He needs to provide financially. I've already hammered that home. And he needs to provide so that you can be healthy. Your health is important. The longer you live and the longer your health continues, and the better your DNA is handled in the sense of good nutrition, good exercise, all of the things that you know you need, but very often in monogamy don't have capacity to handle, that's his job. He provides whatever is necessary for all three women in Three Girls in Love to have all of their emotional needs met. Because if they do, and if he does that, they will be emotionally fulfilled. And emotional fulfillment is heaven for women. It fulfills your emotions. It's all about emotions for you women. Okay? I'm going to end with a quote. I guess that was me. I'm walking with my wife every single day, and we come up with so much good stuff. She's amazing when she's discussing with me about these principles. We have so much fun discussing it. And what I wrote down was, a man's job is to provide the women and children with emotional fulfillment. That's what this video is about. If it's not heaven for them, he is not providing. I'll repeat that. If it's not heaven for his women and children, he is not providing. And provision is the most important thing a man can do in a relationship. That's his role as a masculine man, which he does naturally, by the way, the more masculine he is. Because the more masculine he is, the more feminine you guys will be. And he wants to preserve femininity, right? So, men might say this, and I quote, "Please give me a small break. I'm doing my best here." Very often men will think about this. They'll look at these lists, they'll look at and hear what I'm talking about. They'll be like, oh my gosh, give me a break. I can't do this. This is too much. Women expect this from me? Are you kidding me? Okay, in monogamy, this list is too much, obviously, because it's impossible to satiate and fulfill emotionally a monogamous woman who obviously she's going to be monogamous to him, but she's monogamous in the sense of living in monogamy and not having the two best friends, because that's the only thing she's lacking. That's the only thing she's lacking. The two best friends and his ability to retain them by taking the blame. That's it. So men reading this list, they think in terms of monogamy. They're like, oh, I can't handle this. This is too much and I'm out. You know what I mean? But if a man knows that he gets 3 girls in love, he gets 3 beautiful feminine women who obsess about him and who loves him and worships him, then it's a different story. Then he's like, oh, give me the lists, okay? I'm going to do this. I'm fired up outside my brain about emotionally fulfilling femininity, because that will fulfill my masculinity as a man. However, okay, I'm doing my best here. And my reply to that, or a woman's reply to that, would be, well, your best is simply not good enough. Men need to understand that it's difficult to fulfill women emotionally, but it's only difficult outside of 3 girls in love. If a man practices voluntary celibacy and semen retention with the vision in mind of one day I will deserve 3 girls in love, one day I will earn the respect and trust of their fathers and of other men of high value who have seen my journey, who have seen what I've been capable of doing, and who knows my transparency, my integrity, and who I truly am. That's what you need as a woman. Because if you know that a man has gone through the fire, he's gone through hell to get to heaven. And once he achieves heaven, a man is easy to please, but hard to satisfy. He's extremely masculine, which means that he wants more. He wants more power, not more women. Because the moment he wants more women, that's a problem. The moment he wants more than 3, it's a huge problem. Because it massively destroys women's emotional fulfillment. Women cannot handle more than 2 other best friends forever. That's it. It's a group of 3. The moment you add a 4th one, there's gonna be issues. Watch it, okay? The moment polyamory and polygamy and things start to roll out, notice that everyone with 2 women or 4 women are gonna speak in monogamous terms. They're gonna be saying things like, oh, communication is the most important thing, and it's all about, blah blah blah, and everyone needs to be on the same page, and blah blah blah. They're struggling. They're drowning because it's difficult. In 3 Girls in Love, you won't be hearing that kind of talk. When the man takes all of the blame and he actually provides and does the responsibilities as explained on this channel. There is no complaining there. There is no, oh, it's so hard work. Because the man is doing all of the lifting. He's doing all of the hard work so the women can enjoy their lives. And if they enjoy their lives, the man is freaking excited about it too. Do you understand what I mean? I'm going to end this with a poem that my wife wrote approximately a year ago. About a year ago. And it's very special to us. And obviously, let's just read it and I'll explain at the end. There once was a little girl. Let's fix this one. There once was a little girl handmade by a man and a woman. Gods they were in her eyes, for they had created her. She could hear them, see them, and feel them. She knew nothing else. She was no ordinary girl, the way that she was made. On her back, they gave her a blank slate and many beautiful buttons. And like her slate, she was blank and new. In order for her to work, they had to write on her slate and push her buttons. And so they did. They'd write on her slate and push her buttons. And she did exactly that. What they wrote and what they pushed. And as time passed, they would start to say, "Why did you do this?" I would reply, "Because you wrote on my slate and pushed my buttons." Nobody makes you do anything. But that's how you created me. And so more time passed, they'd ask, "Why didn't you do this?" Or "Why are you doing this?" "Because you didn't write on my slate or push my buttons." And round it went. The creators blamed their own invention for being stupid and not working. They started to push hard when they wrote and cracked her slate. They punched her buttons. A flinch every time they touched her, either sore or scared. She started to overload and short-circuit with the constant conflicting demands. She only knew what they put in. What else was she to do? Until one day she was sent away to a used and outcast shop far away. And there she waited for some sense. Many passed by and had a glance. Many took her home for a day and then gave her back. It seemed always that she was from the inside looking out, behind a window, always behind a window. The day came when she met a boy. He took her home. He cleaned her up. He wrote beautiful things and pushed her buttons. And if ever it did not turn out right, he said, "It wasn't you, it was me. I'll write properly." It is a beautiful poem that basically explains what this channel is all about. What we want is for women to finally achieve heaven for themselves and for those that they love. This is the 3 Girls in Love channel.